Hello and welcome to Productivity for Solopreneurs, where each Wednesday at 1 p.m. I share insights to getting things done. Welcome. So today is live number 126, and the topic is, do you feel like you are spending too much time working? And say hi, let me know that you're here by saying hi in the comments. If you see me looking slightly to the left, I'm looking at my notes, so that's what that is. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Evie Burke, and I help women entrepreneurs take their productivity and their profits to the next level. So they're ready to increase the distraction in their business and in their life. But they find themselves sometimes overwhelmed and exhausted by all of the things that they want to accomplish in their business. But at the same time, they're not interested in always putting in, 9 to 12-hour days. They want to have a schedule that really works for them. We're going to talk about that just a little bit with today's topic too. And the other thing about the people who I work with is they really want to be present within the things that they're doing, whether it's home or business. And I help them create impactful solutions that focus on getting their high priority items done so they can grow their business with confidence and become the business owners and the entrepreneurs that they've always wanted to be. So, this comment, do you feel like you're spending too much time working? Is this something that you are feeling? I'd love to know in the comments. Uh, Let me know. And if you're not feeling this like right at this moment, you've probably felt this at one way or another. Most of us, I think all of us do. And sometimes it's more like, oh, I should be spending more time outside of my business, or I should be spending more time at home or with my family or with my friends or fill in the blank, right? And the word I want to notice there is that should, that little should that's like I should be doing. And there's two different things going on here, right? So sometimes that should is that little knowing inside of us saying you need to change the way you're doing things. You need to spend some more time with your family or with your friends or doing self-care, right? It's that smarter, that intuition, that higher self telling us that maybe it's time to reset those boundaries, or noticing that your family wants to see you more than maybe what they are. And it just depends on what's going on for you, right? So if you're needing to set some boundaries, then there's a couple of things to ask yourself. So the first one is, what blocks of time are absolutely, without a doubt, family time or self-care time or whatever it is that you're thinking, I need to spend more time doing this or with this person or with this group of people, right? What is that for you? So what blocks of time absolutely need to be for that activity or for those people? So in the example of it being family, it might be something that is a one-time. Some of these blocks might be things that are one-time things, like there's a special event, there's a special game, there's a special performance, just something special that's going on that you want to make sure you are there for, right? And so that is a block of time that you put in your calendar and you're like, okay, little Susie has this recital on Friday, 7 to 8 or whatever the time is. I will be there. And that means I need to reserve in my block of time or my calendar for Friday 6 to 10 o'clock because, I want to take her out for ice cream later, whatever it is for you. Right? So those are those one-off things. You want to make sure you know what they are and they are untouchable, right? But then there's also the habitual things. So what are the times in your calendar that every week, each week you are there at that time? And maybe it's the same time every day, every weekday. Maybe it's, you specifically reserve, Thursday night for TV time or family dinner or whatever it is for you, right? But knowing what those times are in your schedule can be really helpful. If you're doing time blocking, it might be I am home at this time or I am leaving the office at this time, putting those boundaries around your business. However, sometimes when we're working for ourselves, we don't have a reason all the time to have those specific hours. I know sometimes I do, and I know sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm wrapping up early for the day for whatever the reason. And that's okay. So maybe you generally work, 30 to 40 hours a week or whatever it is for you. And maybe those hours shift depending on what's going on in your business or what's going on in your life. And that's fine, right? You have your own business, you get to set those hours, you get to decide what those are. It's all about figuring out what works for you and making sure you have some downtime in there, making sure that the parts of your life that are important to take care of are getting taken care of. So again, those things like family time, self-care, right? Those are just two examples of many things that you want to be making time for. So this kind of leads us to talking about balance. So there are some people that say that work-life balance just does not exist. It is a mythical unicorn that will not be found, so don't worry about finding it. And I think it all depends on how you're defining work-life balance, right? So if you expect a teeter-totter type thing, so if you're expecting work-life balance to be like this, right, where it's equal parts life to business, life, personal time to business, then this isn't probably going to happen. So this example, if it does happen, it's like for one glowing day that happens like once every 10 years, right? This equal parts work life, work personal, like it just doesn't usually actually exist. So if that's what you're defining work-life balance as, then yeah, that probably doesn't exist. However, if you might have heard me talk about this before, I really thought it was important to bring it up again. This, yeah, you can see my mouse. This point right here, like if you think of this triangle as your expectations, if you are looking at this and you are saying it needs to be here in the middle, what happens if you shift that expectation, right? What if you shift it and you say, you know what, I have more work that I need to focus on right now, so I'm going to shift this expectation. Well, then this still balances, but you've shifted your expectation to account for spending more time in work, doing work, being in your business. And because you've shifted this expectation, it still balances. So work-life balance is more about your expectations than it is about finding some perfect or elusive balance, right? So when you're looking at your work-life balance, what are your expectations around work-life balance right now? And we all go through these seasons in our business and in our personal lives where, sometimes our business needs more attention, right? So we're going through a change or an evolution or something new is coming that we're preparing for. And so in that preparation, we need to be spending more time in our business, right? And so it's about shifting those expectations. Now, if you have family or something, people in your life that are affected by this shift, you need to make sure they're on board too. If it's just you and your business or you and, a spouse or significant other that is affected, then you still need to make sure that they're on board, that they that their expectations are being shifted also, right? But you can shift these expectations. And conversely, sometimes there's things in our lives where we need to be spending more time away from our business and more time in the personal life of our lives, right? And for me, that happened when my father-in-law was very ill, um, both when he was in the hospital and then a few years later, a couple of years later when he passed, right? That time with family was so important. And so shifting that expectation about what that balance was kept me sane, knowing that, okay, my balance, my work-life balance right now is going to be more geared toward family. Then I was able to focus on that and change my expectations about what I was going to be completing in my business or how I was going to be showing up or where I was going to be showing up in my business, right? And so, again, sometimes it's the other way. Um, Sometimes it's just things like knowing, in addition to the seasons of our business where, something new is happening that we're preparing for, whether it's a launch, whether it's a new product or service, whether it's, any number of things. There's also times in our business where we're doing the planning or we are taking care of ourselves. So those are also different balances that you might need to look at, even within your business sometimes, where if you're really at a point where you're creating ideas and you're doing some planning and, and dreaming, maybe the balance in your business is more behind the scenes as opposed to networking and out there and phone calls and meetings and that kind of thing, right? So there's even that balance within your business. But again, it's all about knowing what your expectations are. I'm pointing to my computer screen. It's about knowing what your expectations are and setting those expectations correctly. Expectations correctly. And throughout all of that, especially when you are spending more time in your business, make sure that you are still taking care of yourself, that you are getting enough sleep, that you are spending time with people that you love, that the things that are still important in your personal life, the people and the self-care items, that those things are still being attended to, just maybe not as much as they would have been, normally. But, again, still make sure you're getting enough sleep, still make sure you're taking care of yourself. It might mean that your normal changes for a little bit. So maybe you're doing a lot of networking or events on Saturday and you don't usually work on Saturday. Maybe you take a day off during the week or a half day during the week because you've been putting in that extra time on the weekend, right? It's all about deciding what that balance looks like for you. So come over here and see the comments. So let me change the screen back so you can see me. So yeah, when you are feeling like you are spending too much time working, look at what's going on in your business and what needs to adjust. Is it that you are legitimately spending too much time in your business right now and you need to readjust those boundaries? Or do you need to look at how you're defining balance and give yourself a little permission to redefine what balance looks like for you? And just don't forget to get the buy-in of the people in your life that are affected by this. All right. So that is all for this week's productivity for solopreneurs. If this is a topic that feels like it is impacting you and your business and you want to talk about it, I am available. Just feel free to reach out and connect with me. The easiest way to do that is probably the contact me form on my webpage, and I will include a link to that in the description when I update the recording. So if you're watching the recording, it's already there. Until next week, much love, everybody. Bye.